sense. We have another ancient manuscript that writes 616 Khi-Iota-Stigma, instead of the number 666 in the earlier manuscript, the original one. For him, the numeric designation of the Antichrist results from adding 600, representing Noah's age at the flood, to 60 and 6, denoting the height and width of Nebuchadnezzar's statue.
Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come. Even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. 1 John 2:18.
Note in 1 John 2:18, Apostle John explains to us that regarding Antichrists, it takes the form of singular and also describes Antichrists in the plural form. In the singular form, John prophesies the coming of a figure, the Antichrist, who will rule. In the plural form, John explains to us that the spirit of this Antichrist has been present since ancient times, although the Apostle John does not deny that at the end times, an evil being called the Antichrist will emerge in the singular context. He insists that there are distinctive characteristics of Antichrists in the plural context, and indeed, they already exist. Apostle John was a Jew, writing from a profoundly Jewish perspective. The book of Revelation is written with an anti-Roman teaching. During that time, the Christian community faced and entered into polemics and war with the pagan Roman gods. Apostle John wrote his book in a real context, addressing the 7 churches as commanded by the Lord Jesus, and John's writing was understandable to his contemporary readers. John clearly states, "Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 and 6. If identified that the number of the beast Greek, ARITHMOS TOU THERIU, refers to Emperor Nero, this would explain why some early manuscripts of Revelation, such as in Papyrus 115 on element beta to 115, write 616 Khi-Iota-Stigma instead of 666 Khi-Xi-Stigma as the numerical representation of the beast. The difference might arise from the spelling of the name Nero, as pronounced in Latin rather than Hebrew. In Latin pronunciation, it is Nero and not Neron. So, without the letter nun, the Hebrew letter nun has a Gematria value of 50, and it is added to the name Nero in an attempt to help readers not confuse the godless Roman emperor with someone else. Thus, we get other ancient manuscripts that write 616 Khi-Iota-Stigma instead of the original 666. In earlier manuscripts, it is clear, therefore, that 666 and 616 refer to the same name, that of Emperor Nero. Church Father Irenaeus was aware of the number 616, but did not adopt it. Irenaeus, a disciple of Polycarp, who was a direct disciple of Apostle John, describes the eschatological opponent as an apostate and robber, who desires to be honored like God, albeit as a slave, and desires to be recognized as a king, showing the cunning and deceptive nature of the Antichrist. Irenaeus also assumes Satan's authority over the Antichrist, and even replaces him, establishing himself as an idol, so that those who worship Satan with various abominations can serve the Antichrist. Through this idol, Irenaeus further presents evidence from the Bible regarding the expected actions of the Antichrist, including sitting in the temple of God, tyranny identification with the small horn of Daniel 7, and unjust judgment based on Luke 18:2. The Antichrist transitions from an anti-messianic agent to convey political points, specifically that the current reigning empire will be divided, clearly referring to Rome. He cites Revelation 17:2-14 and the dream vision from Daniel 2 as textual evidence, then states that these verses indicate the justice of God's judgment, proving those wrong who deny such judgment. Irenaeus noted to Thessalonians to 10-12 and much of Revelation 13. He interpreted the number of the beast from Revelation 13:18 as a symbol of the total duration of the world. After providing a brief response on judgment, Irenaeus elaborated on the meaning of the number 666, stating that it symbolizes the pinnacle of evil throughout history. For him, the numeric designation of the Antichrist resulted from adding 600, representing Noah's age at the flood, to 60 and 6, denoting the height and width of Nebuchadnezzar's statue. Irenaeus concluded his discussion by attempting to approach the true meaning of the beast's number and the identity of the Antichrist. He rejected the variation in Revelation 13:18 that mentions the number 616 and portrayed the arrival of the Antichrist as violence originating from the tribe of Dan. Irenaeus approached the question of the anti-Messiah's name, cautiously believing that prophecy is more important than Gematria in recognizing his identity. Nevertheless, he mentioned 3 names, where the total number of letters is exactly 666. Gematria is the numerological study, using the Hebrew alphabet's numerical values for letters to derive deeper meanings from Hebrew texts. While the summation might seem arbitrary, it is considered intriguing in the study of Hebrew gematria. The number 666 is calculated using the gematria value of Hebrew letters. Emperor Nero, Neron Qsar, Nen 50 plus Rizi 200 plus VEV 6 plus Nen 50 plus Kef 100 plus Samic 60 plus Rash 200, total 666. In Greek letters, the number 666 can be fully written as hexakosi oi hexakonta hex, 666. It's crucial to note that the Bible doesn't write the number 6 3 times 6 and 6 and 6, not a 666, but signifies the numerical value in a gematria symbol, 666. Although the beast mentioned in the book of Revelation, in the context of the early followers of Christ, referred to Emperor Nero, Hebrew Neron Kesser, who had the numeric value of 666. According to early church tradition, both Apostle Peter and Apostle Paul were martyred during the reign of Emperor Nero. In Apostle John understanding within subsequent churches, it is highly likely that Emperor Nero became a symbolic figure representing all persecutions, from governmental powers and the future figures like Hitler, Stalin, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, etc.,